be.
And your dogs will love it just like mine do. DINOVITE.com.
Live and local.
Thank you guys again for being on the air. Appreciate you doing what you're doing.
How's that sound?
And you're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Live from the WHBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
And good Monday morning, everyone. It is a special Monday edition of Spotlight on Stark County. And today we are Spectrum Orthopaedics, our guest. And we're going to talk about, well, some really interesting things, because I think people maybe aren't sure exactly what happens when it comes to orthopedics and may have a little bit of a different thought about where they go, what kind of services they can get. And in our area is very lucky to have a place like Spectrum. So we'll talk about that. I should let you know that if you are interested, you can find this program live on our Facebook page right now at 1480 WHBC. And you can also find us live on YouTube right now, our YouTube channel, 1480 WHBC. But of course, we're live on the radio here on 1480 WHBC. So I want to welcome in our two guests from Spectrum right now. Dr. Travis Seaman is with us this morning, a surgeon who specializes in foot and ankle, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And also we have Julie Lykins, who is nurse administrator at the surgery center. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
So I'm going to have each of you maybe introduce yourselves just a little bit to our community so they can kind of get to know you. We'll start with you, Dr. Seaman. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came here, where you came from, that kind of thing.
Great, sure. I actually grew up in Texas and Louisiana, and you could wonder how the heck I ended up in Ohio with that being the case. I did my undergraduate at Louisiana State University. And then after that, I did a master's program in medical sciences that took me to Texas. And after that, I stayed there and I completed my medical degree in Fort Worth, Texas. And then when you do medical education, you go to medical school and then you decide on a specialty. I obviously picked orthopedic surgery, which is how I'm talking to y'all today. But when you do that, there's something called a match, where you then have to find the right residency training program for your specialty for you. And in very competitive specialties like orthopedic surgery, that can take you anywhere in the country. So I landed in Cleveland, Ohio. And so orthopedic surgery is a 5-year residency. So I had 5 years of training in orthopedic surgery there. And during that time, I met my wife. And wow. So the plot thickens. And so that's how somebody from Texas and Louisiana wants to spend the rest of his life in Ohio, is you meet somebody from Ohio. And so we, after my orthopedic residency, it's very common for orthopedic surgeons to pursue what's called fellowship training. That's where throughout orthopedic residency, you learn all the basic orthopedic surgeries, including total hip replacement, total knee replacement. You get exposure to spine surgery, pediatric orthopedics, fixing fractures of basically anywhere in the body. But then you subspecialize in this fellowship. And I completed my fellowship at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center just this last year. And my subspecialty focus was foot and ankle surgery. And so I am returning to Ohio to practice orthopedic surgery with a subspecialized focus in foot and ankle surgery.
Texas, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Yes.
That's a heck of travels, but
it is.
What made you choose orthopedics? What made you choose foot and ankle? All of that.
Sure. Well, we'll start with the basics. The orthopedic surgery is actually pretty simple. In medical education, at least where I did my medical school, we still used real human cadavers in our dissection lab. And, it's a great gift that those people give us to let us learn. And we always appreciate it. But, you get this very immersed experience in human anatomy. And I knew even early on in my medical education that I wanted to be a surgeon. And the huge impact you can have on people's daily life with orthopedic surgery, helping them get back to their active lifestyle and mobilize. I mean, we have some of the happiest surgical patients. There are other people that do other surgeons that do great work, but orthopedic patients generally are very happy. So that's kind of how I landed on orthopedic surgery. Then of course you have to study very, very hard and do very, very well on your tests to get into orthopedic surgery. And I managed to do that, which is great. I chose my fellowship training because orthopedic foot and ankle specialty is significantly less common than other specialties in orthopedic surgery. But it's this really great combination of kind of almost every other subspecialty in orthopedic surgery. I do joint replacement. I do trauma. I do sports medicine, repairing ligaments, and helping athletes get back to activity. A little bit of everything. So it's a nice mixture, and it allows me to really focus my more advanced techniques on one area of the body.
Yeah, and we'll get to a lot of that
Sure.
In a little bit, because I do want to talk to you about that, because you always hear about people getting knee replacements and hip replacements. You don't hear all of the stories about the foot and the ankle. So that's going to be very interesting. But before we do all of that, I want to bring in Julie Lykins, nurse administrator, Spectrum Orthopaedics Surgery Center. And Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself. How you came to Spectrum.
Hi, Pam. Thank you for having us. I actually am upstairs, so it is a little confusing for the community because it's one big building. It's a gorgeous building. Downstairs is Spectrum Orthopaedics, where all of our doctors practice, where we'll be inviting Dr. Seaman to start here this week. And upstairs, we have a surgery center, and the surgery center is called Ohio Specialty Surgical Suites. We do all of those doctors that work downstairs come upstairs and they do surgery. We have block times that allow them to take care of all of their patients in an environment where there's no sickness or illnesses like the hospitals have. And so it's a optimal way to have your surgery.
And you got involved how? I mean, what made you, what led you to this kind of career?
Well, I've been a nurse since the 90s, and I've worked in surgery. I started way back when Massillon Community was opened, left there and went to a couple different places. And then when I heard that Spectrum was opening their own orthopedic surgery center, I was very interested. And when we built the building, I started at the very beginning when we built as a nurse that worked in the surgical department, and then things just changed and opportunities happened, and I became the administrator in 2017.
And we're talking about, the beautiful building, but we haven't said where you're located. Where is Spectrum's beautiful building?
Spectrum is located on the corner of Frank and Apple Grove. The address is 7442. It's tussled right in that corner there. If you're about 5 miles south of the airport, if people aren't familiar with Apple Grove or Frank, it's kind of behind BJ's, I guess, is the best way to say there.
That's what I was just going to say. Right down from BJ's. That's how I remember it too. Yeah.
Yes.
Very easy to find. And how long have you guys been at that location?
So we built in 2013. We opened the doors at the end of 2014. Our first surgery was actually in December of 2014.
Wow. It is a beautiful place. I have been in there, and it's a great place. If anyone is in need of this kind of help, or, just wants to go and take a look at it, a great place to go. And if you need that kind of help, obviously, but we're going to talk more about that. We'll talk with Dr. Seaman. We'll talk more with Julie here in a few minutes. We're going to take a break and we will come back. It is our Monday edition of Spotlight with Spectrum Orthopaedics.
Thank you and your team for being constant companions and friends.
You have gotten me through many, many years.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
These are are looking pretty good here in my area. Well, I love you and I love everything you do.
It's a new day.
You guys are great. I love listening.
You make it happen. We here at 1480 WHBC want to continue that work.
Honestly, the sun rose over our state thanks in part to you.
On News Talk 1480 WHBC.
This is our year.
Step into history at the Great Trail Festival this weekend. See artisans and crafters demonstrating their skills and offering their wares. Savory kettle-cooked foods, live music with show fiddlers, clog dancing, Scottish pipers, and the Teepee Village are the hallmark of the Great Trail Festival. Now in its 40th year and better than ever. 2 special weekends, August 28th and 29th, and September 4th, 5th, and 6th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on State Route 43, just 18 miles south of Canton at Malvern, Ohio. Visit the website at greattrailfestival.com.
Hi, I'm Pam Cook for Primetime Health Plan. There are so many great things for you to learn about Primetime Health Plan. They offer a gym membership at participating locations at no additional cost. And did you know that the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital Health Systems are in network for Primetime Health Plan's Medicare Advantage members? Visit pthp.com to learn more about their in-network hospitals and facilities. That's pthp.com.
Want to turn your old, rusty hunk of junk in for a nicer ride, but think it's not even worth a tank of gas? Think again. Progressive Jeep Ram will give you $5,000 for your trade, no matter the condition. That's right, $5,000 for any trade, guaranteed. When you buy any factory-certified pre-owned car, truck, or sport utility at Progressive Jeep Ram in Massillon. Need repairs? No problem. Any rusty, smelly, noisy hunk of junk gets you $5,000 guaranteed. $5,000 could help you get approved. No other dealer will give you $5,000 for your cruddy car, but Progressive Jeep Ram will, guaranteed. Get $5,000 for your trade only at Progressive Jeep Ram. One trade per purchase. Offer applies to Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram certified vehicles only. Does not apply to prior transactions and cannot be combined with any other advertised offers. See dealer for details. Ends August 31st, 2021. Get $5,000 for your trade only at Progressive Jeep Ram in Massillon.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine set broken bones, perform wound care, and remove bunions. Common health issues that they treat include ingrown or fungal nails, corns, warts, and skin problems like athlete's foot. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? To find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Are you looking for a new career? Ohio Means Jobs Stark and Tuscarawas counties has the tools available whether you are a job seeker looking for a new career or an employer looking to fill a position. Visit our website at omjwork.com or follow us on social media for more information.
Love the show. Thank God for radio. I don't know where we'd be without it.
Oh, yeah, listen to you daily. Your station is so informative.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And it is our Monday edition of Spotlight, and today talking with the folks from Spectrum Orthopaedics, and we have with us Dr. Travis Seaman and also Nurse Administrator Julie Lykins. And let's talk to Dr. Seaman about what exactly you do, because here's the thing, you always talk about an orthopedic surgeon. And like I said earlier, you hear people say hip replacement, knee replacement, but I would imagine somebody who has problems with a foot or an ankle, your feet, that's a pretty devastating thing when there's a problem there.
It really is. I'm as an orthopedic surgeon, I'm licensed and allowed to operate on any major joint or bone in the body, hip replacement, shoulder surgery, knee replacement, any of the above. Like I said, obviously my focus is the foot and ankle, and it is devastating for people. And you take up to 10, 15,000 steps per day, and if you have one bad foot, that's 7,000 bad steps per day. That's rough. But I treat a wide range of foot and ankle problems, everything from the bunion or the hallux valgus, which is the technical term for it, to major reconstructive surgery of the ankle or lower leg. Maybe I had a previous trauma, maybe a bad injury, have terrible either deformity or pain or arthritic changes in that area. I can fix that, or at least make it better. We'll be clear there. And that includes things like a total ankle replacement, because like you said, it's one of the major, I don't want to say misconceptions per se, but a lot of people just don't even know that technology exists. So it's actually been getting better and better over the last few years. I'll tell any patient that comes into the office that total ankle replacements are not as good as a hip or a knee. Those are fantastic surgeries. People do very well after those. But people do a lot better after a total ankle. They just don't have the same longevity as a total hip or a total knee, but they do very well after them. People are very happy with their total ankle for the most part.
What kinds of things would lead to a total ankle replacement?
It's a great question. The ankle is kind of an interesting joint such that there's a lot of force concentrated on a fairly small area. The whole weight of your body goes on a pretty small area every time you take a step. But it is interestingly very resistant to standard wear and tear arthritis. The hip and the knee tend to get a little more just wear and tear arthritis, which is a complex issue in of itself. Lots of possible genetic or environmental factors that lead to arthritis there, but we call that just osteoarthritis, just wear and tear. The ankle's very resistant to that. What happens most of the time is someone had a bad trauma. Post-traumatic arthritis is the major leading cause of ankle arthritis. You may have had a bad fracture or a bad injury or even just a very, very, very bad sprain. Can lead to severe ankle arthritis down the road, or ankle instability is another major leading cause where you had maybe a very bad sprain that was undertreated or untreated, and the ankle's basically just been unstable for decades sometimes, and then you get severe ankle arthritis.
And Julie, I'll bring you in for a second before we have to take a break here and just ask you about at the building, what kinds of services are offered at that location at Frank and Apple Grove?
Everything is offered. Spectrum actually has a very nice way of incorporating. Everybody can have their MRI there. There's an urgent care that's opened every night and Saturdays. And that is run by the orthopedic surgeons and sometimes the PAs. Then we have the office where all services are met. We have a pain management physician that started in January, and we have the surgical center upstairs. So anything that you need orthopedically, you can have right there at that location.
So all-inclusive basically is what we're talking about when it comes to Spectrum Orthopaedics. Again, as Julie mentioned, and we've been talking about at the corner of Frank and Apple Grove. Very easy to find, a great location if you are up in that area, up in the near the Strip, that area. Again, very, very easy to find. We're going to take a break and from our discussion here, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Dr. Travis Seaman about surgery and about what it's like to come into the office, what you can expect, and what kinds of things would make you make an appointment with him. We'll do all of that and more as our spotlight continues right here on 1480 WHBC.
Thank you and your team for being constant companions and friends.
You have gotten me through many, many years.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
I like local news. It makes me more excited about my community in general when I see things that are happening locally. I like to see some changes in my local community.
In my news, I like to see local news because I want to know what's going to directly affect me and my community.
Local news, that's important to me.
Keep us informed of what's going on around this state.
Because the news never stops.
Get the facts.
And neither do we. Kind of go down the list here for you.
1480 WHBC and WHBC.com.
Hey, the Roadman, Kenny Rhoda here for the Wacom Auto family. Credit amnesty is back. It's bigger. It's better than ever at Wacom.com. You may get pre-approved for up to $30,000 in credit. No social security number needed. No hard credit pull. If you bring in $350 a week, you could get pre-approved for up to $30,000. There's no need to worry about your credit. Wacom will help you find a ride. They're working with over 30 different banks and lenders to get you approved. So start the process now from home online at Wacom.com and take advantage of credit amnesty. You may even get approved with nothing down, with no social security number and no hard credit pull. So go to Wacom.com to get started today and then visit them on the Wacom Auto Mile. You know where that's at, West Tusk and Lincoln Way, between Canton and Massillon. And do what I did. Save the Wacom way and tell them the Roadman sent you.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let BCI Bath and Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Our residential bathroom solutions provide the best value on the market, and our customer service is second to none. Our cost-effective BCI Bath and Shower family of products has what you need.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom. And it was a great experience the whole way through.
We have the best monthly payment programs in the industry, with payments as low as $68 per month, or no interest, no payments for 18 months. That's right. Get the bathroom of your dreams now and pay for it in 2022. Call 1-800-449-1387 for a free no-obligation price quote. That's 1-800-449-1387. When you want quality bathroom products at a great price, it's got to be BCI Bath and Shower. That's 1-800-449-1387.
At Packley, they pride themselves on serving families in Massillon and the surrounding areas with dignity, respect, and compassion. The families they serve are their top priority and have set measures in place to help protect and accommodate the elderly, sick, and members of the public, and will make every effort to accommodate families in making arrangements, conducting services in any capacity needed to ensure their safety and comfort while honoring their loved one. Packley, serving the community with grace and compassion.
We call him Willy Wonka. He's a chocolate lab. His belly itched, and he would actually lay in the grass and scoot across it to scratch. And Sheba, his sister, she scratched at her ears real bad, and she shook her head so much, she wound up with cauliflower ears.
DINOVITE.com. Dinovite is nutrition.
When we first got the Dinovite, they cleaned the bowls up real good. Her ears, they're a whole lot better. Wonka, his belly, it's all really cleaned up. He flops over and lays on his back and just kicks his legs, and I call it his happy dance. They look good and even smell good in between baths. You should give your dogs Dinovite before something happens. And that's kind of like preventative maintenance.
Dinovite for life.
It makes them healthier and happier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
And your dogs will love it just like mine do.
DINOVITE.com.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
My sweet cheeks feeling squeaky clean when Charmin's rolling behind the scenes. Charmin TP gives me those cheeky clean feels. That ultra strong hype is all for reals. Those TP rolls got me a Charmin clean tuchus. Cheek to cheek feeling oh so shooketh.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Your family deserves the purest water possible. That's why you need a Verndale water softening system to solve your hard water problems. Save 15% off any purchase with code RADIO15 until 10/31/21 at Verndale Water Experts.
Verndale's Water Center.
WHBC AM Canton, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, the heat is back along with the humidity, and experts are reminding those who have breathing issues that small children, the elderly should all stay out of the heat, and everyone needs to keep hydrated. The Ohio Attorney General's office has approved summary language in a petition to legalize marijuana use and sales in the state. He determined that the summary is a fair and truthful representation of the proposed change to Ohio's law. Now, the petition filed by a group called Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol now goes to the Ohio Ballot Board for more consideration. American Airlines has extended its ban on alcohol until 2022. The extension of the ban is due in part because of incidents where passengers became unruly during flights because of alcohol. The FAA has recently announced that fines for unruly passengers this year had topped $1 million. The Browns, in their first and only preseason home game yesterday, beat the New York Giants 17-13. Tonight on 1480 WHBC, it's the Ohio State football season preview show. Find out what you can expect from the Buckeyes coming up in the 2021-2022 season. That show gets started at 6 o'clock tonight. More news coming up at 10. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Partly sunny, warm, humid weather continuing for the rest of the day. High this afternoon, 89, then becoming mainly clear tonight with a low of 66. Tomorrow will be partly sunny and hot with near record-breaking high temperatures with a high of 92. Hot on Wednesday with near record-breaking high temperatures. More clouds and sunshine, high 92. I'm Holly Holden for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Because the news never stops.
Or at our Twitter account at 1480 WHBC. We'll also post at WHBC.com.
What's next? Keep listening to find out. News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Did you know that 1 in 5 small businesses will suffer a cyber breach this year? So how safe is your business from a cyber attack? Visual Edge IT engineers can assess your existing technology and provide a complete IT roadmap to protect your data. They provide 24/7 threat detection and monitoring to ensure your computer system and network stays secure. Call your local Visual Edge IT partner, Graphic Enterprises, for your free security assessment. It's 800-553-6616 or visit visualedgeit.com.
At the Honda Summer Sales Event, one summer adventure leads to another. Start with a great offer on a new Honda and be on your way to remote beach weekends, deep forest discoveries, and sunsets next to a campfire that you built yourself. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get 1.9% APR on the 2021 Honda CR-V, Ridgeline, or the all-new 2022 Civic.
Contact your local Honda dealer or visit northernohiohondadealers.com for more information.
Exclude Civic Type R. See dealer for financing details.
Thank you and your team for being constant companions and friends.
You have gotten me through many, many years.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our special Monday edition of Spotlight, talking to the folks from Spectrum Orthopaedics. Don't forget, you can listen to us or watch us right now on our Facebook page at 1480 WHBC and also on our YouTube channel at just search News Talk 1480 WHBC on YouTube. And today we've been talking with Dr. Travis Seaman and also Julie Lykins from Spectrum. A lot of interesting things because, as I was mentioning, an orthopedic surgeon, we often associate with the hips, the knees, and those sometimes even, elbows and wrists and things like that. But you specialize in foot and ankle, Dr. Seaman. And I want to talk a little bit about, what would be some signs and symptoms or things that people should be thinking about if they are considering making a call to you. I know trauma obviously would send somebody there right away, but
sure.
But if they have aches and pains or something they just don't know, just doesn't feel right, what should they do?
Well, it can kind of be that simple. If you've had pain in your foot or ankle and it's interfering with your activities of daily living, you don't have to hesitate to come make an appointment with us. If it hurts, we can help you out. And one of the things that people are afraid of, when they see the, orthopedic surgery, orthopedics or something like that, is that, we're just going to immediately jump to surgery. And some people need surgery, but we almost always work on making a customized treatment plan for patients that generally will begin with non-operative treatments, which can include things like physical therapy, which we have in-house at Spectrum Orthopaedics, or orthotics, or braces or things of that nature. So there's a lot, long story short is don't hesitate. If you have pain that interferes with your activities of daily living, just getting up, moving around, living your life, you can come see me.
It's interesting, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but more and more people that I know talk about plantar fasciitis or, having problems with their feet. They, don't wear high heel shoes anymore or wearing flats all the time. I mean, are you seeing things like that more and more? Is that more common these days?
Well, it's very common to begin with. Plantar fasciitis is one of the most common, if not the most common, just depends on what data you look at. One of the most common things that people all over the world will deal with. It is a little more common as we age, but almost anybody can have it. I've had plantar fasciitis. But I see a huge range of things, everything from, like I said earlier, bunions to hammer toes to fractures in the foot, fractures in the ankle. Like I said, those are pretty obvious. Tendon disease throughout the ankle, including flat foot. I see, like I said, the ankle sprains that maybe don't do so well. Achilles tendons, another really common thing that drives people in to see us. And there's a lot of very common things that people suffer with all the time. And there's a great graphic for us on there that we deal with a lot of things in the foot and ankle. And a lot of people just sort of will sit on this forever or not sit on it, they'll walk on it. And it can be very surprising when people have been walking on something for a very long time and they see me. I don't know how they do it, honestly.
I look at that list, I think, yes, I've had all of those, I think, at some point in time.
One thing to remember is that it's not necessarily a normal part of aging to just have pain every day, all day. There may be a little bit of discomfort or wear and tear, but if you're having significant pain, that's not a normal part of aging.
Is this things that happen to your feet? I've always heard people say that can also then have an effect on your knees or then have an effect on your back. Is that something that's true?
Absolutely. Your contact with the ground begins at your foot. And especially when you start to get a large deformity in your foot or ankle. And like I said, I've seen some very impressive ones. That it can create significant stress up through the ankle, which can translate up to the knee. And some of these folks end up with actually like a leg length discrepancy because they get such a flat foot or they have some other terrible deformity in their foot. And that will absolutely affect your hips and your back and all the way up the kinetic chain. So yes, it's very common.
And there are a lot of people, obviously, in this day and age of fitness who are out there, maybe doing the extra aerobics or maybe walking a lot, just around the neighborhood, that kind of thing. Are there things that people can do to be safer about their foot and ankle or, to not maybe get those kinds of injuries or problems?
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. We saw a large surge of, I don't want to call them walking injuries, but, when everybody was stuck at home earlier in 2020, we saw a lot of people get out and do their walking and suddenly go from not much walking to a lot of walking. And a lot of people ended up with sprains, irritation, a couple of stress fractures even. But one of the safest things to do is just sort of to gradually increase your activity, not jump from 0 to I'm going to walk 10 miles around the neighborhood this week. Kind of let your body accommodate, but also to have supportive footwear. And that's very helpful for you. Generally, as an orthopedic surgeon, I prefer a nice stiff supportive shoe with not terribly aggressive arch support. You kind of have to find the right one for you. But a little bit of support. And I do have to just get this out there. I hate high heels. They're awful. They do really bad things to people. I know people like them, but I cannot possibly endorse high heels. So just a segue from the
for a guy to say, is it?
No, it's not. But in my professional opinion,
okay,
I'll qualify that. But shoe wear can definitely have an effect on the diseases of the foot and ankle. And generally, you just have to have a nice accommodative shoe, wide enough for the shape of your foot, and a little bit of support and cushioning are very helpful. And like I said, I generally like to recommend people get a little bit of a stiffer shoe. There's kind of been a trend towards the minimalist shoe lately, and some people that's probably okay, but for most folks, you should have a nice supportive shoe.
I didn't think you were going to say high heel. I thought you were going to say flip flop.
Oh, that happens too. They're normally spongy enough to give you a little bit of support under the foot, and don't necessarily cause problems in of themselves. But there's a not small amount of folks that get injured on those. Either the flip flop goes out from under you, or it gets caught on something, or even it blows out and then you trip or something like that. So I don't hate flip flops the same way, but you just got to be careful.
I did see a girl walking my neighborhood. She does it frequently in flip flops. I don't get it. I don't know how she does it. It would hurt my legs. I think it would hurt, but yeah, that's a story for another day, I guess. So kind of walk me through what it would be like if I made an appointment to come and see you, what that first appointment might be like.
Well, sure. A lot of the times we'll we'll skip some of the really fundamental stuff, you check in, things like that, but you'll come in through the front of the building, you'll check in, they'll do all the standard stuff. But what will happen is before you see me is you'll typically get x-rays, usually of the foot and ankle, because they have a significant effect on each other. And there are some x-rays that really show me different parts of the anatomy and things that we really need to look at and rule out certain kinds of injuries. So you usually get those x-rays before you see me. And then we'll usually look at those x-rays. Either I'll look at them before I see you, or we'll look at them in the room. And usually I'll look at x-rays with you if you come to see me. And we'll talk about everything that I see. I'll get before that, usually we'll focus on what brings you in. We'll talk about, what symptoms you're having, what pain, where it is, how long it's been going on, what you've tried before you see me. Some folks that come to see me have had multiple previous surgeries, and we have to review that. We have to figure out what we kind of start all the way from zero, what started the cascade. And so sometimes that can take a very long time for me to catch up to what's current day, to catch up to somebody's problem. And then we'll do a physical exam where I'll usually compare your feet. I make the assumption that Mother Nature made you symmetric. And we'll compare your good one to your bad one and kind of look for discrepancies, or look for ligament laxity, things like that are maybe driving your complaints. And then we'll compare those to the x-rays. We'll try to tie all that stuff together. We'll hopefully, and most of the time, your symptoms line up with your physical exam, line up with your x-rays. Sometimes the x-rays are normal in some things like ligament injuries, for example, but they still help me give a good estimate of your alignment and a good idea of the way that your biomechanics are probably working. So, and then we'll talk about where to go from there. We'll tie it all together and kind of get an idea of what is causing you those symptoms. And then we'll talk about options. And those can include anything from just sort of a better understanding of what's going on. You say, okay, great, I understand. I'm going to go about my merry way. Sometimes that happens. But a lot of folks come in because they want me to offer them something. And we do. We'll talk about non-operative things, which can include injections of either corticosteroid medication. There are some settings where something like a biologic agents such as PRP can be helpful. That is a platelet-rich plasma, and that's a whole. We can get into that later if we need to, or we can talk about it in the office if you come see me. Or other things like physical therapy, orthotics, and that kind of is the general sort of non-operative bucket. And then if you've either tried those already, or in some cases where you have very severe disease, we'll talk about surgery. And we'll talk about surgical options. Sometimes there's more than one option. And we'll kind of do what's called shared decision making. And we'll talk about pros and cons of things. And we'll just be very upfront with the best way to go about things, my experiences, and what works well for people. And like I said, generally speaking, people are very happy with a lot of the stuff we do for them because they've been living with pain for a long time by the time they see me.
Yeah. Well, when we come back, we have Julie Lykins is the nurse administrator. She's with us too. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to Julie a little bit about what it's like a day in the surgery center, because that can be scary for people. So we'll check in with her about that. And also, as a sports fan, I have a couple of questions for Dr. Travis Seaman. We'll do all that as Spotlight continues right here on 1480 WHBC.
show. Thank God for radio. I don't know where we'd be without it.
Oh, yeah, listen to you daily. Your station is so informative.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's on your smart speaker, tablet, or phone, too. Just download the iHeart, Odyssey, or radio.com app. Be sure to check out our website daily for the latest at WHBC.com.
As the world gets back on track, now's the time to look forward and make bold, life-changing decisions. If you're ready to complete your college degree or pursue your master's like an MBA, Ohio Dominican University offers a range of innovative programs that match your goals. And with both fully online and on-campus evening formats available, pursuing your degree at ODU also fits your life. Classes are forming now. Get started at ohiodominican.edu. That's ohiodominican.edu.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with a booming voice that emphasizes all the main points. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
That part is super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Liberty, 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 liberty.
We all know that when the market goes up, your money goes up. But when the market goes down, unfortunately, so does your money. Don't let a broker place your 401k and IRA in costly investments. Call us at TAA and Associates. We will make sure you don't get ripped off with false information. The indexed annuity is the hottest product for retirement. It pays you interest and income for life and no probate. Call us at TAA and Associates for a free consultation. 330-896-8222. That's 330-896-8222.
With protection for your motorcycle, boat, and RV, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to. Unlike this indecisive sports talk host.
All right, welcome to the Big Shark Show.
Hey, Big Shark, any predictions for the game tonight?
Well, if you ask me, they are definitely going to win big, but I also think there's a chance they don't win. It's just my gut that they will, or they won't. But I do have a hunch that whatever happens, we will definitely know when it does.
Wait, so...
Either way, they always seem to come up with a big play, or sometimes just a smaller one.
Switch to Progressive today.
Bottom line, they're going to win. Or lose.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Thank you and your team for being constant companions and friends.
You have gotten me through many, many years.
News Talk 1480 WHBC.
And again, it is a special edition of Spotlight, and today Spectrum Orthopaedics are guests, and you can watch us live on Facebook right this very moment. Just go to our Facebook page and like it, and you can also find us on our YouTube channel. Just search 1480 WHBCs. We have been talking about all things about Spectrum Orthopaedics, foot and ankle, with Dr. Travis Seaman. And I want to bring in now Julie Lykins, who is a nurse administrator with Spectrum and has been that for quite a long time and has seen a lot of things, Julie. And I want to kind of hear about what it's like for the patient to come in, say they have surgery scheduled. Because like I said, that can be a scary time for people. They can be concerned. What happens when they walk through those front doors?
Well, it's very scary. And, we might, as individuals who see 25 surgeries a day, know that it's rote. But when you're the patient, it's completely different. It's very scary. So we do what we can do to try to educate people before they're walking through the doors. They get a pre-op phone call from one of our nurses that goes over their history, goes over what medications they're taking, what they'll do, trying to prepare them for what's going to happen when they arrive. Always is helpful to them to be as prepared as possible, because when you're anxious, it's hard to learn or even take anything in. So we do our best to do as much education beforehand that allows the patients to maybe feel more comfortable. We want to do whatever we can. Our staff is amazing. We have the best of the best at Ohio Specialty and Spectrum. Quick little plug for all of them, but we do our best to let the patients know too that we understand. We understand that it's very scary to have surgery, and so we try to treat each person as an individual.
And I would imagine that most of these are obviously, outpatient surgeries. They, come in, get it done, and go home within a certain number of hours. So you guys probably have it down to a science, right?
we have been called a well-oiled machine before, yes, and I would say science is a good way of describing it. At the center, we're called an ambulatory surgery center, which means that we can't have anybody stay more than 24 hours. And I would say that it's actually very unusual that ever happens. We do total joint surgeries, and the average time for total joints to stay is under 6 hours, believe it or not. That's when we tell people that, they're just amazed, because you check in, you have about an hour before surgery where you get some anesthesia blocks, you have some things that help you so that the pain is managed better. You have your surgery, you recover, and you go home. And we're doing that with total joints, with complex spine cases, with every other type of surgery we do. So at the center, we're all orthopedics and pain management. But within that orthopedic realm, like I said, we're doing spine, total joints, sports medicine, upper extremity, and now, and always lower extremity, but now we're also adding Dr. Travis Seaman, and we're very excited about this new addition.
And speaking of Dr. Travis Seaman, before I let you guys go, I am a sports fan. I know there are a lot of people out there who are sports fans. You have to explain to me, why is it when my favorite wide receiver or somebody like that gets a high ankle sprain, it's such a problem?
Sure, that's a great one. The high ankle sprain is, I don't say it's a misnomer, but it's one of the. There's a lot of things that are not that I would name differently. It's really a lot different than an ankle sprain, and that said, a severe ankle sprain in and of itself can be worse than a fracture, worse than a broken bone.
Wow.
But a high ankle sprain is really an injury to what's called the syndesmosis. That is what connects the two bones in your lower leg, the fibula and the tibia, together. And there's a number of ligaments that hold that complex together. And it kind of depends on the severity of the injury, but a severe high ankle sprain or a severe syndesmotic injury is a real problem, because it completely destabilizes the connection between those two bones that are in your lower leg. And unfortunately, ligaments actually take longer to heal than bones. So, you hear about a lot of these guys getting surgery very quickly or practically, the next day. And that's great. And there's actually some really good technology available these days to help stabilize it until your body catches up and heals it. But it can take a very long time. And there's a lot of other injuries that happen in the lower leg and foot. There's actually Liz Frank, probably a terrible foot injury here this weekend. Where players going to be out for another probably 4 to 6 months. But it takes a long time, unfortunately. Like I said, we have great technology available to us, and we use cutting edge technology at Spectrum Orthopaedics, but the body has to heal too.
That makes a lot of sense, though. I'm glad you explained that, because you always hear that, the high ankle sprain, the high ankle sprain. Well, we welcome you to Northeast Ohio and to Spectrum, and we're glad that you're joining the group there. And I know a lot of folks got a lot of great information today. We appreciate both you and Julie coming on with us, and I know a lot of folks will be visiting Spectrum soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you for having us.
Download the iHeart, Odyssey, or Radio.com app. Be sure to check out our website daily for the latest at WHBC.com.
10 to noon live and local show. I'm Jordan Miller, and this is News Talk 1480 WHBC. News has given me a sense of satisfaction because I've been able to provide a service to people who want to know what's going on, to provide news, provide community resources, but most importantly, be your friend. 10 to noon, we're live and local. I'm Jordan Miller, and this is News Talk 1480